Hey guys, CJ here bringing you another edition of our Top 5 Tuesdays. Yes, I am not Josh, and actually we'll be taking over the series from him for the foreseeable future. I know you're disappointed. You want your Josh fix. But Josh is actually, he's back at school now and he's just super busy, so a lot of the original content shows are actually going to switch, I guess you could say, hosts, and I'm going to be doing a lot of them actually. I think we haven't nailed down which, but I might actually just be doing top 5 character bios and super science for the foreseeable future. So, without further ado, this one is the top 5 Batman replacements. Now, what does that mean? Well, a Batman replacement doesn't mean, somebody just picked up Batman's shift when he was sick or wanted to sleep in or went to have a nice brunch out in the country with Talia. No, this is when Batman pretty much died or was incapacitated. So we're talking things like Nightfall, where his back was broken, or Batman R.I.P. from more recently, like 2008, I guess was that storyline. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with an honorable mention, and this honorable mention is Jim Gordon, because it's just too soon to tell yet. However, Jim does bring a great perspective on the role, as well as a wit that contrasts sharply with Bruce's typical serious demeanor. Maybe next list, Jimbo. Coming in at number 5, John Paul Valley. And yep, we're starting off with an OG Batman replacement from all the way back in Nightfall saga of the 1990s. After Bane successfully broke the Bat, Bruce turned to John Paul Valley, also known as Azrael, a friend and fellow crime fighter. Azrael was the last in a line of assassins of the Orders of Saint-Dumas, a religious sect that used brainwashed assassins to achieve their sinister goals. Azrael felt in a way that it was Bruce's injury was his own fault and that his style was obsolete. With a new power-armored suit and a much more brutal approach to crime fighting, Valley defeated Bane to claim revenge for his mentor, against the wishes of Bruce Wayne. Unfortunately, that's when he decided to go a little crazy sauce. He severed ties with the GCPD, nearly choked Tim Drake to death, and he got a little too reckless with innocent lives for Bruce's liking. And Bruce, with his healed back, ultimately defeated Valley using trickery, because bright light and night vision goggles don't mix. Coming in at number 4, Tim Drake. Yes, Tim Drake, considered by some to be the greatest Robin. They would be wrong. Tim has seen his time under the cowl as well, albeit briefly during Battle for the Cowl and at more depth and glimpses of the future. Perhaps most notably, Tim is Batman Beyond, the newly relaunched DCU, which is a controversial decision to say the least. Following the Future's End storyline and the death of Terry McGinnis at the hands of one of Brother Eye's assassins, Tim dons the suit to fulfill Terry's last wish, travel back in time and prevent the war from ever occurring, in the hopes of preventing the creation of Brother Eye in the first place. Apart from this, Tim has actually been shown to be one of the future wearers of the cowl in issues of Teen Titans, JLA, and Superman/Batman. Coming in at number 3, Damian Wayne. Now, who's better to be the next Batman than Batman's own son? Well, 2 other folks, if this list is any indication, but Damian Wayne is, in fact, Bruce Wayne's own biological son by way of a test tube and genetic modification. Raised by his mother in the League of Assassins, Talia left him with his father as a means of disrupting his work, but this backfired significantly as Damian ended up embracing his role as a crime fighter. Even with his heroic turn, many fans of the Bat found Damian to be insufferable and a cocky little bastard, and few shed a tear when he was killed by the heretic. In fact, many more might have wept when he was returned to life a few short months later. However, with both his genetic gifts and training from the League of Assassins, he might already be the most equipped to handle or permanently hold the mantle of Batman. Despite being Bruce's biological son, Damian is only shown as a future Batman a relatively sparse number of times, most notably in the Batman run before the New 52. As young as he is, though, he'll undoubtedly get his chance and be seen more as Batman in the future. Number 2, Terry McGinnis. A fan favorite, Terry McGinnis rose to popularity on the strength of the DC TV animated universe, becoming Batman Beyond as a continuation of the new Batman adventures. He wasn't actually depicted in the main DC universe until 2010, although that was quickly retconned by the New 52, he has made appearances in the multiverse of the new DCU. Born in 2023, Terry grew up rough, getting in trouble and even doing time in juvie for some of his crimes. Fortunately, Bruce, having been retired for 20 years and at this point well into his 80s, I think, sees his potential and takes him under his wing, training his young protege to become the new Dark Knight. It is only revealed later that via a sort of Deus Ex Amanda Waller, Terry is Bruce's biological son, the icing on the cake to why many feel that he's Bruce's best successor. In comics, Terry hasn't had quite as much success as he did in the animated show. He's relied on several miniseries to get his name out there, and though he was recently introduced to the post-Flashpoint DC universe as a part of Future's End, he was unfortunately killed at the hands of Brother Eye, as I previously mentioned, and he handed off the mantle to Tim Drake, as I mentioned earlier. Nevertheless, Terry remains the solid Batman successor for many fans, which is why his placing at number 2 might be a little controversial. Number 1. Dick Grayson. Who else but the first Robin? Originally appearing in 1940, Dick was Batman's sidekick for 44 years before striking off on his own to become Nightwing, Teen Titan and protector of Bloodhaven. Some could argue for any one of the gents listed before him to be the best successor, but none quite has Grayson's resume. Firstly, it's been alluded to, or even more directly referenced, that before Damian became his biological son, Dick was the closest thing that Bruce had to a son in the main DC universe, and that's been, called out many times in many different medias. They mentioned it in Injustice, and I shed a tear when that happened in the game. In addition, Dick has been by far and away the most successful of the Robins in his own solo career, having successfully established himself as a hero in his own right as Nightwing. And he's also got a great new book out written by Tom King and Tim Seeley that just goes by the name Grayson. Finally, Dick Grayson has actually taken up the mantle in canon the most out of any of the aforementioned characters, donning the cowl first for a year in 1994 following Zero Hour, and later in 2008 during Batman R.I.P., where he maintained the cowl until the New 52 reboot, even after Bruce Wayne's return, though they more like shared the role, I guess. So, do you agree with our list? Do you disagree? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and who are your top 5 Batman replacements? Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next week.